Once upon a time in a land far away, there was a small village. It was hidden deep in the forest, surrounded by tall trees and flowing rivers. The people of the village lived simple lives. They farmed the land, fished in the rivers, and took care of their animals. Life was peaceful, and the villagers were happy. But one day something strange happened. The village disappeared. It was not destroyed by fire, nor was it attacked by enemies. It simply vanished. Travelers who had visited the village before could no longer find it. Even the paths that led to it were gone. It was as if the village had never existed. In a nearby town, a young boy named Thomas loved hearing stories about the lost village. His grandfather had once been there and often told him about the beautiful houses, the friendly people, and the delicious food. Thomas dreamed of finding the village and uncovering its secrets. One summer morning, Thomas decided to go on an adventure. He packed some food, a map, and a small knife. Then he walked into the forest, determined to find the lost village. The forest was thick and dark. Sunlight barely passed through the leaves. Thomas walked for hours, following the directions his grandfather had given him. But no matter how far he went, he could not find any sign of the village. As he walked deeper into the woods, he noticed something unusual. The trees around him looked different. Their leaves were silver, and their trunks glowed faintly. The air smelled sweet like honey and flowers. Thomas felt a strange energy around him. He realized he had stepped into a part of the forest that was magical. Suddenly a voice called out, "Who are you and why are you here?" Thomas looked around but saw no one. Then he noticed a small bird sitting on a branch. The bird had golden feathers and eyes that sparkled like stars. "Did you just talk?" Thomas asked, surprised. "Yes, I did," the bird replied. "I have lived in this forest for many years. Why have you come here, little boy?" "I am looking for the lost village," Thomas said. "My grandfather told me stories about it. I want to see it with my own eyes." The bird tilted its head and thought for a moment. "The village is hidden," it said. "But if you are brave and kind, you may find it. Follow the river, and when you hear the sound of music, stop and listen." Thomas thanked the bird and continued his journey. He walked along the river, listening carefully. At first, he only heard the water flowing and birds singing. But after a while, a soft melody filled the air. It was beautiful and sad, like a song from a dream. Thomas followed the music. The trees became even taller, and the air shimmered with light. Then suddenly he saw something ahead. A village. But this was no ordinary village. The houses were made of crystal, and the streets shone like silver. People moved around, but they looked different, like shadows slightly transparent. Thomas realized he had found the lost village, but it was not in the real world. It was trapped between worlds, a place of magic. An old woman approached Thomas. She had kind eyes and a warm smile. "You are the first human to find our village in 100 years, she said. "What happened to your village?" Thomas asked. "A long time ago, a powerful wizard cast a spell on us," she explained. "He was jealous of our happiness and wanted to take our village for himself. But when we refused to serve him, he cursed us. Now we are stuck between worlds, neither alive nor gone." "Can the spell be broken?" Thomas asked. The woman nodded. "Only a heart pure of greed and full of courage can break the curse. You must light the flame of truth in the center of the village. But be warned, the wizard left traps to stop anyone from freeing us." Thomas agreed to help. He walked to the center of the village, where a great stone tower stood. Inside, a single candle sat on an altar. It was the flame of truth. As Thomas stepped forward, a dark mist rose around him. A voice echoed in the room. "Why do you seek to break the curse?" the voice asked. "Because it is the right thing to do," Thomas said. The mist formed into a dark shadow with glowing red eyes. "If you free them, you will gain nothing. Turn back now." Thomas took a deep breath. "I don't want a reward. I just want to help." The shadow screamed and disappeared. The air became clear, and the candle flickered to life. A warm golden light filled the room. Outside, the villagers gasped as their bodies became solid again. The crystal houses turned into wood and stone. The village was back in the real world. The old woman smiled at Thomas. "You have done what no one else could," she said. "Thank you." The villagers celebrated, and Thomas stayed with them for a few days. When he returned home, he told his grandfather everything. His grandfather smiled and said, "I always knew you had a brave heart." And so the lost village was lost no more, thanks to a boy who believed in kindness and courage.